Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're watching God, Sex, and Love. Tonight, we're going to be chatting with Mr. Chancellor Jackson, and we're going to learn about his 15 nights in Beijing or something along those lines.
But I'm not the type of girl that goes around and fools around. Think I'm so done with that crazy part of my past. So don't get so old to ask, cause I won't go there. So be aware, yeah. I'm good, but I bet you wishing I would have a one night affair.
Welcome back to God, Sex, and Love. I am here with the Chancellor Jackson. Hello, how are you, sir?
Hey, blessings and balance to you. Blessings and balance to everyone that's tuning in right now. I appreciate you for having me.
Yes, sir. Welcome. Welcome to God, Sex, and Love. I truly appreciate you taking out the time to chit-chat this evening.
On me. For sure. It's going to be fun. I can tell.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to learning more about you and everything you have going on. So by all means, tell us where you are first, and then, give us a little sneak peek at who is Chancellor.
For sure. So Chancellor K Jackson is the name. Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Played football vast majority of my life. So that definitely shaped and fine-tuned the character and the spirit that I am today. I started playing. I didn't start playing until 8th grade though. You know what I'm saying? Most people that start playing football start playing around 4 or 5 years old. So I ain't playing until 8th grade. So I was a late bloomer with that being said. And pretty much my entire life has been just me getting it out the mud, being a step behind or not as developed as everybody else. So I have to catch up. So that's why I got the resiliency piece within me. You know what I'm saying? Just being down and knowing how to fight your way out of that circumstance, situation, or whatever scenario, whatever the case may be. But was able to play all throughout high school and got the opportunity to play in college all 4 years at Stetson University down in Florida, where I obtained my bachelor's degree in communication and media studies. And ironically, I landed my first job teaching English to children in China. So So when I went over there for a little bit, absolutely enjoyed it. Love China, hands down. Best experience I've ever had. I encourage everybody to travel abroad, of course, but if you can live abroad someplace else for a little bit, I highly encourage it. The food was amazing. The culture is different, but you can respect it. The people were nice. I enjoyed working with the kids. I'm working with kids as young as 3 years old all the way up to 14, but mainly working with the elementary school age range. So I'm with the babies all day. So class was lit. I had class piped up. Traveling, exploring Beijing. It's like, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm on the other side of the world, literally I'm in a different world. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everything from the simplest task is going to be an adventure. Going to the grocery store, going to the bank. I'm talking about the most simplest things you could think of. There's just errands for you. Try doing it on the other side of the world. Oh man, it's a challenge. Everything's a challenge because it forces your patience to increase because one, you don't speak the language like that. So with that being said, you won't have to translate via your phone app, or y'all gonna have to do body gestures and a lot of miming it out. So it just, you know what I'm saying, your patience increases, and your understanding as well as far as just life. And especially for those that are from America, we see folks from other countries all the time. Mm-hmm. It's just left and right. But when are we ever in that situation where we're the foreigner? Right. You know what I'm saying? It's rare that we're in that situation. So it's vital. You know what I'm saying? It's vital. You know what I'm saying? It definitely broadens your understanding and enlightens you as far as just life in general. So I enjoyed every minute in China, and then things hit the fan. About 6 months through, halfway through, I was arrested and locked up in the Beijing jail number 6 for possession of cannabis. I was locked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 15 men to one cell, 9 wooden beds, 3 soups a day. All I had was 1 Tupperware bowl and 1 plastic spoon for 14 days. And I'm here to tell y'all I did 14 days. As you read the book, you're being arrested, and as soon as the cuffs are thrown on you, all forms of communication cease to exist after that point. So it's like you don't know what's going to happen next. Nothing's being explained to you, and it ain't like, well, from our culture, we've been told not to talk to police, so I'm definitely not opening my mouth unless directly spoken to. But it isn't like I can have an elaborate, extensive conversation with these people anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't gonna happen anyway. So I don't know what's happening next. Nothing's been explained to me. Nobody knows this is happening to me. So now I'm just in this situation where I'm in this cell with 14 other Chinese men, locked up 24 hours a day. Until one day somebody finally just call your name. So come on. And you know what I'm saying? So of course, once I was released, they took me straight to my apartment, pack up the rest of my stuff, then to my straight to the airport where I was deported from the country. So I came back to America immediately. And now I'm just back to square one all over again. Like when football first came to the end, my senior year of college, like, damn, Chance, what's next? What we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? How we gonna bounce back from this? And we got to figure out something. But I was like, you have experience teaching. You already have experience teaching, and you was teaching overseas in China. That's gonna open up some doors.
Yeah,
it's gonna open up some doors, and that it did. So I continue to. I'm like, I might as well stick with education for now, just because I already got my foot in the door. So continue to do that. I fell into coaching football, just on the humbug. It was just me being out there watching and giving a few pointers. Oh, hey, bro, you trying to coach? Yeah, I ain't opposed to it. I ain't got nothing else going on. So, you know what I'm saying? I coach high school football. I'm also a life coach to at-risk teens in my county, and we work with pretty much teenagers that got arrested for drugs or doing hot stuff. But we use 14 days in Beijing as a part of our lessons to pull our life skills from. Also, I coach aspiring authors. So I own my own publishing company, which all my books are published through. And one of my services, author/publishing coach. So anybody that has a concept or an idea for a story, but don't know how to go about putting it on paper, or you've already written a story, but don't know how to go about publishing, I could walk you through either process or both of them. And I actually just had one client who released their book on the 16th of this month. And his book went ranked #1 new bestseller in 2 different genres. Went crazy. So it's titled The Fatherless Child by Anthony McKinney. Y'all go get that. It's a great read. It's a drama for sure. So in addition to all of that, I also have rent cars out. I've got a car rental service. So I rent cars out through Turo. So yeah, man, just running just a young humble cat from just running a couple marathons trying to get established. That's it.
Okay. Man, all right. Well, look, there's a lot to be said with that. I mean, well, one, thank you for sharing, being transparent and open about all of that. And don't let me find out we neighbors or something, like, because we could have just did this in person, bro. Like, in Atlanta.
Oh, you in Atlanta?
In the Atlanta area.
Oh, dang. Yeah, I live in Smyrna.
Funny, though. Well, I'm in Lithonia, so
okay,
put it out here now. Oh,
yeah.
But yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's cool. I mean, I think I might have had like one other person that was like that also I found out was in Atlanta. I'm like, but hopefully one day I'll start doing things live, in person and all of that. But I'm appreciating being able to do this because you reach so many different people from around the world. And
no, facts
of that, right? So, shout out to you and your journey, right? I guess I'm kind of, I don't know if I say jealous, but I definitely admire. I'll put it like that. I admire that you have traveled abroad and everything like that. I mean, I tried, Lord knows I tried to get some overseas opportunities. They just didn't pan out, hopefully I'll get to at least travel and experience that, because I do think not only that it will be interesting to go and visit other places, but like I think there's just so much that we don't know, right? And then it's like you don't get that when you get that firsthand experience. Now China, for example, but I only know pictures or something. So I've traveled a little bit around the States and stuff, but I want to get out and see more. So
that's why it's so important, because we can just expand on, for instance, right now, me and you are in the same state, in the same country, but 2 different cities, and the differences from Smyrna to Lithonia and everything in between that commute, the differences, you know what I'm saying, are pretty obvious. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of differences from the groups of people, all of that being said. All right, now we take it a step further. Now we comparing Georgia to LA, Georgia to Chicago, Georgia to Kansas. You know what I'm saying? Right. Different regions of this nation and how drastically different, you know what I'm saying, each state is, you know what I'm saying, based on where you're at. Now we take it from a global standpoint. We talking about Georgia compared to Paris, Georgia compared to Ghana, Georgia compared to Saudi Arabia. Now, oh my goodness. So we just talking about how different things are within just a couple miles Now we add thousands of miles and how different things are. So it's like everywhere you go on this planet, life is different, live different, looked at different, goal is gone about differently, the whole nine. So with that being said, it's like, how can anybody say and believe that they have the knowledge of the right or wrong way of living this life when everywhere you go, it is drastically different? You can't sit here and say that, you know, this is how life is supposed to, you're supposed to live life just like this. How can you say that? Because if I go someplace else, they're going to look at me like I'm crazy. So it's just like, yeah, that's why traveling is so important, man. You learn so much about life in general. And just how you was just brought up. You compare and contrast. Like, okay, you see the matrices and you see how the systems are set up differently based on just the region of this globe that you're in. You know what I'm saying? But it's still similar in some form of fashion. So yeah, man, traveling is vital for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the only experience I had, well, I lived in a different state on my own. I was living in Florida.
Okay.
And so I had that experience of being like 5 years by myself, single life. I wrote all about it. The cultivation period, the single Christian journey. I was struggling because I was like, Lord, like, okay, so I'm trying to live right, but but anyway, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I mean, during that time, I did get to. I was working at Walt Disney World, so there, you know, they had all the different people from around the world, and so I would have these conversations with all these different people, and I would be like, well, what do you miss about your home, X, Y, and Z? They would always say the food. Like they would always say that they miss their food. And yeah, it's just very interesting. And so I'm interested to like go to where they came from and like visit them in their side of things. Because I mean, I guess the closest I've gotten to traveling around the world is Epcot. So I mean, it's like a commercialized experience of traveling.
On me.
So yeah, I would love to actually really go and experience these places for real. But yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like you had an awesome opportunity. I mean, I hate to hear about that middle part, but then at the same time, I'm pretty sure it goes with your growth and everything. I'm pretty sure there's a lot from that experience. So I mean, hey, all means, tell us not only, I guess, what you learned in the midst of all of that, but obviously it inspired the book and whatnot as well. Am I getting that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when football came to end, my last game was November. I can't even remember the day, but it was November 2017. That was my last game as a football player in general. And I was just like, damn, Chance, boy, who are you? What's next? What do you want out of life? What do you enjoy doing? Yeah, what do you aspire to be? Who do you aspire to be? What's your purpose? I couldn't answer any of these questions. I was just completely like just a whole identity gone. I identified as a football player, student athlete, good portion of my life, and now that is no longer the case. And I was like, oh, I gotta find myself all over again. And now I gotta find myself at 22 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was a transition for sure. But it took the job searching and, you know what I'm saying, that trial and error, getting told no a million times, and finally getting told yes. And the yes I got is on the other side of the world. Then I go out there, live my best life, then get locked up and fall on my face. You got to dust myself back off and start all over again. But after dusting myself off and having to start all over again, I can see everything how I just sit here and describe to y'all. When you ask me who I was, I can sit here and elaborate and expand on that thoroughly and in depthly of who I am and what's my purpose and what I got going on. Because at one point in time, I couldn't even tell you.
And that's real. I mean, I think, well, I know that the early years are formative, right? But then I think at the same time, too, those adult years, like I want to say back when I was 22, 23, when I was really searching as well and being like, okay, like what is it that I really want out of life? Like, what is it that I want out of relationships? All these different things that I was thinking of at that time, too. And so it's something about, I guess becoming an adult and coming on your own and you're like, all right, at this point, if I feel it's on me, it's not on nobody else. And so, sometimes you got to have different wake up calls and whatnot to, I guess, help you make decisions and get to the next level of your life and stuff. So after going through all of that, I mean, what I mean, obviously it inspired you to write this book, but then also like, what was that like coming back home? Like, do you want to talk about that
Yeah,
moment of coming back home
yeah,
and I guess being at that low point, what you just mentioned? Like, I know
yeah,
you had
yeah.
questions that you couldn't answer, but like, what helped you get to the place where you're like, okay, and now I'm able to answer the questions? Like, what
World,
was that
yeah.
like?
So when I came back home, of course, I'm just happy to be free. On that flight back, boy, I got drunker than Cooter Brown, boy. Oh my goodness, yeah, it was lit on that flight back. Then to get back to the States, my main really concern was my girlfriend that I had at the time. You know what I'm saying? Just being back in the States and being able to talk to her. And really, I can't tell her, you ain't gonna believe this story, girl. I got a story for you. But coming back and then finding out our vibration isn't the same as it once was. And you know what I'm saying? Now I'm like, damn, I done lost my job, my money's still over there in China. Now my girl, goddamn, leaving me. Whew. It's bad. Now it's bad. It's an all time low. But I'm like, shit. Where I'm at right now isn't worse than being locked up in Beijing. So I'm like, I knew in Beijing, I'm like, it ain't gonna get no worse than this. Ain't got no place to go but up. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my mindset. I'm knowing it's gonna be a journey. It's gonna be a process, but hey, we're gonna make it. We resilient. Everything nothing about our journey has been easy. It's been given to us. Now we had to work for everything we wanted to accomplish. And you've been able to accomplish a lot that you set out to do. So, hey man, it's all a part of the process. It's adversity. Adversity introduces a man to himself. Never let no hard time humble us. Just double up. And quotes Nipsey Hussle. So it's just really just trying to. Ain't no point of crying over spilled milk. Solutions. Yeah. Ain't no saying keep banging on the problem. Okay, what how can we solve this? All right, well, I need to find out. Like I said, well, you already got experience with teaching. You know what I'm saying? Keep that foot on that gas. Ain't no point of trying to find. Let's keep doing this. Then the coaching came apart, and then came along, and right when coaching came along, one of my partners, my good friends I grew up with. He was a published author from before we graduated high school in 2014. He was like, "Hey, bro, you should write a book about the experience." I'm like, "Boy, genius! That's genius right there." Mm-hmm. I don't even know where to start, but that's a good idea. He took it a step further. Took my phone, went in my notes, left a brief outline. I'm talking about very basic: opening scene, following scene, climax, following scene, closing. Simple as that. And I just went in and started filling it in. And as I'm filling it in, I caught a flow of how I wanted to go about telling the story. So then I moved it from my notes on my phone to a Google Doc so I could type it up on the computer. 4 months later, I finished writing the book, and then an additional 6 months just getting it ready for publishing. And I was still on pre-sale. I was ranked number one new bestseller in 3 different genres. Okay. So yeah, man, it's all a part of the process. You know what I'm saying?
Well, congratulations on the bounce back, man. Yes, indeed. I definitely commend you on that, because sometimes I think that's one of the hardest things where people, they fall and then they just stay there and they dwell in it and stuff like that. And I think, like, on one hand, how can I say, like, I'm trying to figure out if it's a good thing or not. Like, I feel like it is, because sometimes if, like, in my low moments, then I would just kind of push those things out of my mind. I'm like, you know, like you just said, it's like, can't cry over the spilled milk. I can't do anything about it now. Let me just, move forward. So much so where sometimes it's like I forget those things. Like, what was it with the problem back then? Oh yeah.
On me.
Like, oh yeah, I did go through something back then. But yeah, I mean, sometimes we got to do that to keep going and moving forward, because again, we can't stay in those low places and let those things stifle us. So. Again, I commend you for that, because again, that's definitely a place where we all can kind of, well, I put like that. Some people can kind of like falter and stay there and then never grow. And then I talk to you again and you still in the same place. It's like, goodness gracious. Like, and I guess I'm learning. I mean, I know that people are different, but I didn't realize just how much until you try to like motivate somebody or whatever. Like, things that I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's not comparing or trying to make it like I'm better. You know what I'm saying? It's just a mindset, though, I think.
Perspective.
Like, yeah.
And that's a choice.
Yeah.
Now you got a choice how you want to look at this situation. You can look at it from a negative standpoint, or you can find some positives out of it. You know what I'm saying? To prepare you moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
The choice is yours. I got a saying, every people, hey, how you doing today? How's your day? Every day is a great day. The choice is ours.
Yeah.
Make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.
I like that. Yes. That's
It's
so
simple as that. It's simple as that.
It is so funny how like things do seem like it's just that simple, but then it's like we're making it so difficult for whatever reason. Like, have you noticed that when it comes to
Yeah. That's why I feel like traveling
our
is,
generation or what? But it's like, why are we making everything so difficult? Like
that's
maybe
why
it's
I feel like traveling and exposure is everything. Because you're only comparing your reality. You're only looking at just your reality. You don't even have an idea of other people's realities and how much worse your reality could be. You just know about you.
True.
So that's all you see is, oh man, this is just, it's hell right now. It's just hell. All right. But little do you know, the person next to you, oh man, they'd have been through the, whoo. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's just perspective, man. The shit could be worse. I'll tell my man, it could be worse.
It could.
Anytime I face any type of adversity, I'm like, Beijing jail 6. It ain't that. It's not that. You're going to be all right. And you made it through Beijing jail 6.
Right.
So, what?
So now you like, I mean, it's nothing at this point. So then you come back home, right? And it's like your two loves are coming together, this coaching and teaching.
Yeah.
So, or at least football and teaching, right? Because I guess becoming a coach and stuff like that. And so, is that how you feel? You feel like your two loves come together? Or
yeah. Oh yeah. Coaching, I don't even really consider that, especially football. Coaching football, I don't even consider that like as an occupation. That's just like second nature for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like breathing almost. Football was my very first love, very first passion. So, and really the main thing I set goals out for, and was able to accomplish. So I have a deep reverence for the game of football. I learned a lot from this game. It's a lot of skill sets and characteristics that one can develop from playing sports in general. Honestly, it's a lot that you can just from sports in general. But football, though, that's a different beast right there. Just because it's a team-oriented sport and it's a blood barbaric sport at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much a sport where you have the freedom and the free will to oppose your will on another man and not get in trouble for it. Yeah, for real. But at the same time, it takes all 11 people on the field to do their job. If one person don't do their job, the whole play is messed up. So it's like it's accountability piece at the same time, discipline, leadership, focus. You know what I'm saying? Being able to cerebral, being able to learn the plays and regurgitate it now that you're in the game. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to come with it. So yeah, definitely, you know what I'm saying, sports played a huge factor. And just the developmental piece of me becoming from my transition from a boy to a man. And I encourage everybody to get their kids involved in some type of sport. Some type, like I said, it ain't got to be football. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of sports out there that you can choose from, and they all gonna teach the same things essentially.
Well, there's a couple of questions. One is like a gag question, I guess, and then the other one is like, I guess serious. So which one you want first?
Either one, it don't even matter.
Okay, well, I don't know. I feel like the gag one might get answered quicker. So let's see. What do you think about football versus football?
Football is
like soccer.
There's no other sport like it. It don't matter what face of the earth you go, you gonna see some folks. You gonna see folks playing soccer. You're not gonna go to Russia. You're not gonna go to Europe and Asia and see folks playing American football. You're not gonna see that. Yeah, you'll see folks playing basketball. You'll see folks playing baseball. You'll see folks playing soccer for the shit show. That is the global sport, right? That's the sport of the world, I feel like, in my opinion. And no matter where you go, you're going to see soccer, without a doubt. Football, you're going to see that. So, ain't no comparison at all. It's not even,
I don't know if people even, I don't know, people I went to an Atlanta United game one time, and they was on fire, like everybody was standing up and stuff. It's like, okay, this is very interesting.
I can only imagine how the World Cup is.
So, yeah, I guess people are more into it than you think. But, okay, I was just wondering. I didn't know. You probably like, nah, I don't do soccer. I ain't with it.
No. Athletes gonna respect athletes. You know what I'm saying? For sure. It's all the same grinds. It's all the same grind. Especially you was a student athlete. Come on. You're not better than me and vice versa, but we still got to go to practice, we got to go to meetings, we got to go to lips, we still got to go to class, you still got to manage your social life. You know what I'm saying? All of this, so hey, but it's a grind. It's a grind.
That's real. So what is it that drives your passion in regards to football then? Because like I know you said that you kind of got into it a little bit later and stuff like that. So like what was that thing that made it like, so it seemed like it was a life-changing experience for you to be in. So
I guess because my first year wouldn't be just being late to the game. I really ain't play like that. It took me a whole year just to catch up to the speed, physical standpoint of the game, and then the mental. You know what I'm saying? And when I say mental, it's like literally knowing the game of football, organized football. They ain't all I knew was just, hey, bro, I'm finna run, throw it, and I'm gonna catch it. That's all I knew. Catch and run. Oh, now they talking about, X, Y, Z, 91, 92, 90. I'm like, whoa, what y'all talking? So it's like, it took me a minute to, you know what I'm saying, learn it. And then, so 8th grade year, you pretty much flushed that year because that was just a complete waste. I got hurt and everything. So, but 9th grade, I'm talking about bounce back like a mug. I done caught up to the speed. I was working out all off season. So now physically I done developed a little bit more. So now I'm starting. It's been a complete 180 in comparison to last year. Now I'm starting. And it's like, okay, this game is what you put into it. If you give, you do good, and you put your all into it, good will come back to you. So I'm like, shit, yeah, I like this. I want to play at the college. Freshman year, I knew I wanted to play Division I football. Okay. I knew I wanted to play Division I football. Now, did I know how I was going to get there? No, I didn't. But hey, we was able to make it happen at the same time. So it's like, again, it's like this being the first passion, first love, and I was able to take it to the heights that I wanted to take it to. You know what I'm saying? And all the lessons that I learned along the way was just all preparation for what was in store. You know what I'm saying? Adversity. Life is nothing but adversity. It's filled with adversity. That's why we call this thing the marathon. It's just like a marathon race. That bit is long. You're going to get winded. You're going to get tired. You're going to start cramping up. Folks you running this marathon with, some of them going to throw in the towel, going to tell you to throw in the towel too or drag you down with them. Nah, you got to keep your 10 toes to the ground. You got to keep going. No despite how hard it may be, how tough, you got to see it through. So yeah, man, just seeing it through, just being resilient. Yeah, just all the development, man, everything I learned from the game and was what I was able to accomplish, most importantly. For sure.
Cool. All right. I could tell, like, again, the passion in your voice about it and everything like that. I could tell that it was this, again, a transitional moment, like one of your cultivation periods, if I was. You know what I mean? So that's really cool that, you were able to build those things in that time that obviously helped you later on in life and everything like that. And so the other thing that I like that you mentioned was that you are a mentor of sorts. So tell us about that. Like, how did you get into the mentorship aspect?
So
what is that like? Because I know the youth these days is on a whole nother
level. Yeah.
And I know that I stand by, men teaching young men how to be men and all that stuff. So I'm all ears. Yeah, I got a son and everything. So let me hear about all this.
Really, that started. I'm a natural born leader. I've always been a natural born leader. 5th grade class president, always on honor roll, perfect attendance. Like I was ideal. I was the ideal student. And then when football came along, that just sharpened and fine-tuned me even more. So, but with football comes, it develops leaders. It's definitely going to expose leaders, fake leaders, and it's also going to develop the true ones. I was one of those true ones because naturally I've always was a leader. You know what I'm saying? I'll make sure to do right, to do. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing nothing foolish. We're gonna make these good grades. We're gonna do what we're supposed to do in the school building, behavior wise, academically, and then of course when we out in the streets, when we away from our parents, we still got to be. We're still a reflection of our mama. We're a reflection of our community, of everything. So it's like I want to make sure I put on the best representation for myself, my people, and all of that. And that's when I first started growing my locks. I had locks at one point in time, so that's when I first started growing them, and I wanted to defy every stereotype that came with having them, at being a black man. So it was more of a challenge for me. And then, like I said, once football came along, it just fine to me. Like folks call me Unc, folks call me Granddad, folks call me Preacher. Like I was always been that type of dude. I've always been like that. So now that I'm doing it now, it's just like, okay, well, hey, it's stuff I already been doing. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm just using it to my benefit, truly, and monetizing off of it and building off of it. You know what I'm saying? Versus when I was just doing it just for the sake of the game, or just the tribe, or you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's more for me now, and you know what I'm saying, building off of it for real, for real.
Okay. So the type of youth that you're working with, like what age ranges are you working with? And,
So with teaching, I'm at elementary school in Douglas County, actually. And of course, high school football. So that's 9th through 12th grade. And then at-risk teens, they high school students. So same 9th through 12th grade. So for the most part, I just don't have the middle school group. That's the only group of kids I don't have my hands with. But elementary and high school, I feel like that's still a good balance for sure.
Okay. So I know you probably don't want to get like deep into like people's individual stuff, but like what's one of the, I guess, heaviest moments that you've had as a mentor, like something that you've helped someone through? But you know, if you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what's a good one to share. I really want to say when we was I'm partnered with this nonprofit called the UMA Foundation. And then this was founded by one of my track coaches from high school. It was founded back in 2005. But when we was working with the teens, like I said, we working with kids that most of them are drug addicts. Like these, you know what I'm saying? They ain't just got caught with a little bit of weed. Nah. These folks, like, they're dead. And I'm talking about hard drugs, meth, you know what I'm saying? Hair, like, and I'm like, boy, these kids, like, these babies on the hardcore. And this one girl in particular, she was a senior. She was a senior, and she was about 2 months sober by the time we got to her, and she pretty much was just wanted to maintain her sobriety and get prepared, you know what I'm saying, just get prepared for college. And that's what we helped her with, you know what I'm saying, just the application process. Well, she was already going to Kennesaw State, so just pretty much making sure all the financial aid stuff is taken care of, housing, you know what I'm saying, the little stuff that I'm sure for somebody, a senior in high school, you had to do all that on your own, boy. Hey, that's a lot. So just little stuff like that, and then making sure they still doing what they need to do grade wise and behavior wise in the school buildings, because it's, you know what I'm saying, everything is all karma at this point, you know what I'm saying. Got to continue to stay good on good, you know what I'm saying. So definitely working with her and getting her prepared for college, because just last year, a couple months prior, Shawty was off, you know what I'm saying, she was off meth, you know what I'm saying. I'm talking about being with random grown men, all different types, like, you know what I'm saying, all different types of stuff, you know what I'm saying. So it's like, it's crazy. Like, man, these kids, you never know what somebody might be going through, especially these kids. Oh my goodness, a lot of these kids live fast lives, and it ain't their fault. It ain't their fault, and that's not their fault, you know what I'm saying. So it's like, man, it just makes you more appreciative of the little things. Especially of your upbringing, if yours was a lot more positive than theirs, and just being able to be that helping hand, that guidance for them that they need, and you know what I'm saying, that we all need. So yeah, for sure, I say definitely. And she wasn't the only one. It was a couple of them that was like that were addicts, former addicts. You know what I'm saying, off hard meth. Like I was like, there's a lot of meth, meth. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, I didn't think it was. People was really doing it, but I guess so.
Wow. And I'm sorry to hear that there's so many, but I'm glad that there's people like yourself and the organization that you're part of to assist and help people through those things. So I'm wondering, like, when you say you're working with the schools, you're like in the actual school system and everything like that, right? Because,
Yeah.
okay, my son's 4. I'm still debating on if we gonna do the school thing, and I'm not sure. I just hear too much crazy stuff going on in the school. Like, what are you witnessing as somebody that's right there in the midst of things? Like, are you witnessing this crazy stuff that we're hearing, or is it not here yet? Or like, what's your perspective of?
Honestly, I just feel like history continues to repeat itself. The same stuff, that crazy stuff or wild stuff that we was on as kids is the same thing going on now. The technology is just far more advanced. That's the difference. It's the same stuff that's been going on. Same stuff. It's the same stuff. You would be gullible or naive if you want to. It is the same stuff we was on when we was just. But like I said, technology is a lot more advanced, so a lot of them are a little bit more faster just because, you know what I'm saying, they're exposed to a lot more as well. But all in all, what you see in the schools that might be deemed as crazy outlandish is all nothing but a reflection of what go on at home. Ain't nothing but a reflection of what go on at home. So it really started in the household. You can't even sit here and pinpoint. You can't blame the school system. I mean, to a degree, for sure, everything plays a factor. But hey, man, where was that foundation truly laid at? Where it began? Okay. So what we see in the reflection of the foundation, attitude reflects leadership. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's reflection at the house. Real talk. Real talk.
That is true. I know we talk about that on here all the time about like how important it is to be parents and be hands-on, and just that it just forms, like you just said, every aspect of your life, So yeah, man. Oh goodness. Well, I mean, I know we just got heavy real quick. So let me make it back like a little bit and ask this question right here. So when you said you saw GSL, he was like, "Oh, I want to come into the show," or anything. Like, what was on your heart and mind to share? Is there anything in particular that you kind of was like, I want to definitely say this on this platform?
Definitely. Yeah, I got a quote I want to give y'all. And it's by Nipsey Hussle. For those that don't know who Nipsey Hussle was, he was a rapper from South Central LA, a rolling 60s crip, you know what I'm saying, first, but a serial entrepreneur, all in all, you know what I'm saying? Despite his background and how he came up, he made a choice that he could either better himself or continue down the same path that he was on. He was fresh out of jail in 2008. He's like, I'm finna make a change. And it started with making music. That was one of his bread and butters. And then, of course, his clothing line, the Marathon clothing, is another one of his staples. But like I said, serial entrepreneur, he had his hands dipped in everything. But he piped up Crenshaw and Slauson, that intersection, with the same block he grew up on. If folks that are conscious of hip, you go to LA, you have to pull up to Crenshaw and Slauson, to the Marathon store, just to see it. You know what I'm saying? It's a tourist attraction now, just like Venice Beach or Hollywood Boulevard. Like, he done really turned it up for real. And his quote goes, long-winded, you running through this life like it was mine. Never settling, but setting every goal high. 1,000 burpees on the path to my own self-destruction or success. But what's a mistake without the lesson? You see, the best teacher in life is your own experience. None of us know who we are until we fail. They say every person is defined by their reaction to any given situation. Well, who would you want to define you? Someone else or yourself? Whatever you choose to do, homie, give your heart to it and stay strong.
Hey, don't let me find out you a spoken word artist or something. You gotta hold back on some gifts. You telling that part.
Oh, me, man. R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle the Great, for real.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I appreciate you joining us tonight. Please tell us, where can we find more about you and your book and everything like that?
For sure. The best search engine we have, hey man, Google me. Google Chancellor K Jackson. Google 14 Days in Beijing. You'll find everything you need to know. I'm on every social media platform except TikTok. I ain't on there just yet, but you'll find me just about on everything else. Books available on Amazon, as well as my website, ChancellorKJackson.com. If you're any inspiring authors out there, visit ChancellorKJackson.com. You can also find me on Fiverr. tap in. We can set up a consultation and we can get this process rolling. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, just Google me.
Cool, man. Well, look, congratulations again on all your endeavors and making it through and writing about it and changing people's lives with your testimony and everything like that. I appreciate you taking out the time to talk tonight. And you're welcome back anytime.
For sure. It's been a vibe. I appreciate you for having me and giving me the opportunity to showcase my skills and my spirit, most importantly.
Miracle Sims, let's go. No, I'm good, but I bet you wish it I would have a one night affair. But I won't go where you need. 'Cause right now you're looking so good. That's right. But is it worth the chance? Give me one more than
Thank you so much for watching God, Sex, and Love. And thank you to Mr. Chancellor Jackson for joining us tonight and sharing his testimony. I hope that you all enjoyed it. Check out his book and all of his endeavors. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Good night.